Hello and good evening again. Welcome to Edukemy's YouTube channel. My name is Harsh Singh, and in this video we shall study the featured article for today, that is 21st of October 2021. The featured article for today is on the coal crisis in our country. But before that, I was asked a specific question. Can we burn something without the presence of oxygen? Yes, absolutely. Why not? See, oxygen is one of the aids to burning, right? Burning of the fuel. But in case we are not burning the fuel directly, in case we are heating it up, in case, see, oxygen is one of the ones which can help the fuel to burn, right? So in case we are burning a particular kind of fuel in air, oxygen is the one which aids the burning. But in case we want to burn without oxygen, this technique is called as pyrolysis. Pyro, P-Y-R-O, lysis, right? So pyro is heat and lysis is separation. So separation with the help of heat. Separating what? Separating the chemical components, ingredients of that particular entity. So in case I am heating water here, right, with the help of, so the burning of fuel is happening with the help of oxygen, right? Water is getting heated, but if there is fuel getting supplied, oxygen is the one which is aiding it. I get it. But in case there are other ways to heat this place, why not will this substance change? There can be other ways to heat this up, right? So this is one example, pyrolysis. With the help of, without the help of oxygen, we can burn. And we can also use some other kind of ingredients to burn without the use of oxygen. Because once oxygen is used, then the burning quality changes completely, right? So in case we have, just now when I discussed the burning of hay, the burning of stacks, right? Stubble burning. So in case we are using oxygen, then this will lead to something else, right? It will make the whole product as ash. But in case we are burning it without the presence of oxygen, this will only ensure that certain volatile organic matter which was there in this stubble, it goes up in the air. Rest, it will not burn the maximum important quality of this particular material. In fact, it will raise its calorific value per unit. It will raise its calorific value, just like it happens with wood, right? So if wood is burned in the presence of oxygen, then it will decompose, right? It will be ash. But if wood is burnt without the presence of oxygen, it will lead to formation of wood charcoal, right? And this char can later, wood can later be used for actually burning of wood. Now, the advantage of burning this wood without the one which is created without the use of oxygen, this is better for us. Why? Because it can act as a fuel. In case we are burning in the presence of oxygen at homes also, so it will lead to formation of lot of gases, carbon dioxide, then there will be also water component in this, right? Volatile organic matter, those gases which are not required, we will be inhaling. But in case we burn it without the presence of oxygen, all these gases will go up. What will lead is only few gases, so it will be less harmful for us. Also, its calorific value will be more, right? These kind of pyrolysis is also used for a certain important waste management, right? So we burn without the presence of oxygen and we convert these left out material in pellets, in the form of pellets. These small pellets can later be used in thermal power stations also, complementing the traditional coal, right? They can be used like that. They can also form important chemicals, components. They can be used as those ingredients which can be used again in the agricultural fields, right? So this is what is burning without oxygen useful for. All right. So featured news for today is on coal crisis in India. We have been hearing of this all the time, but the crisis in India is a subset, is a smaller set of the crisis around the world. Not that it completely matches. A right figure would be like this. So some of the components of crisis match with what is happening in the world, but some of the crisis is something that India can handle by itself. We have studied this whole part. What is the crisis in the world? How is America related to it? What about production of gases in America and fuel? What about Russia? How is it involved? Right? So it is curtailing the supply of petroleum products. It is also curtailing the supply of gases. We've also studied about China, how China is curtailing the production of coal. And what is the reason, right? The reasons are one, Olympics to be held. Second, China wants to account for green production, modes of production. So these are the various reasons. And then of course we have the natural disasters which are impacting throughout. They're also impacting India, right? So now we will study, and this have also impacted India because international prices have gone above the limits, right? We are talking of petroleum prices. We are also talking of gas prices and also talking of the prices of coal internationally, right? and this has also impacted India, but some domestic reasons have also impacted India. So largely we will focus on what is happening inside India, which is causing this coal crisis. Before that, let us quickly understand what this crisis is about. See, India supplies energy through around 135 coal powered units, right? And this supplies as much as 60 to 70% of India's electricity supply, right? 60 to 70%. That is a huge chunk, right? We are talking of 1.5 to 2, 165, around 150 to 200 gigawatt of coal energy production. This is the magnitude, right? This amounts to around 65 to 70% of total energy production in the country. Despite of talking of innumerable renewable ways of production, we are still reliant on coal to the level that right now during this crisis, ideally what is supposed to have is 22 days of coal, right? Coal for the power stations. But most of the power plants here, more than 100 of them, they have a maximum of 3 to 4 days of coal power remaining there. And rest of them also have got around 1 week of power. Ideally, it should be at least 22 days, even more, around 25 to 30 days should be the one, right? India also has got some petroleum reserves. So these petroleum reserves are strategically created at some spots in India. And what is mandated is to have around 30 days of reserve petroleum, not coal, petroleum. But what India can actually sustain right now is hardly 9 days. So India has also mandated creation of another petroleum reserve. So similarly, coal reserves, we have got some coal reserves, but that is not sufficient. Let us understand what is the issue about it. Now, on the right side, you will be able to see a very good mix of energy basket in India, right? This talks about what is the share of coal production and what is the share of wind, hydel and small hydel and renewable. So coal is around 200 gigawatt, and then we have hydro 50 gigawatt, wind 100 gigawatt, wind, solar, all of them together included, right? So we have studied this yesterday itself, so this is the installed capacity, but the actual usage is less. Actual usage of coal is more. See, actual generation 68% is coal, and rest this hydro and all of them are the renewable are less. You know why? Because these ones, wind, solar and hydro, they cannot be utilized all the times. What happens in case there is no sun? What about the times when there is no wind flowing, right? So it is not completely reliable. Also, we have to develop technologies to make it more efficient. Coal is the one on which we rely the most these days, right? So these days and for the last 100 years as well. So how is the government handling this crisis? Government has said, first of all, government has said that there's not been a big crisis at all, and they are handling the supply chain very well. What are they saying? They are going to monitor, a group of ministers are going to monitor the supply. This is one. The captive coal mines, see, there are two types of coal mines. One, coal mines which can actually help in generation of electricity and they can sell it across, right, to anybody who demands it. And the second one is captive coal mines. These mines have to be used just by those industries. For example, we have aluminium industry. Now, aluminium industry requires a huge amount of electricity, and for that it needs a power plant. So a power plant is located aside the aluminium industry. And where is the aluminium industry located? Where we have found bauxite, right? Where is bauxite found? Places where there is laterite soil. So we are talking of Eastern Ghat area, many other places also around Chhattisgarh as well. So aluminium needs energy, and energy is provided through coal mines. So these are captive coal mines. Only these mines can provide energy to only aluminium plant, this plant, and this could be for Hindustan Ispat Nigam Limited, this could be for a private body, anybody, but it is only dedicated to them. So government has now amended this rule and said that captive coal mine can sell 50% of their production outside as well. So this is one important amendment. Along with that, government has said that they will increase the supply of coal also through Coal India. So these are some important changes they have done. They have also increased the number of trains, rakes, train bogies, so that the supply of coal could be faster and it could be met, right? Now, this is where I would like to point out one app, Uttam app. Uttam app is the one through which we understand what is the production of coal, what is the quality of coal getting transported from one place to another through third party accountability, right? So do remember Uttam app, initiative of the government, right? They might not ask every question directly, but these kind of initiatives you must mention, okay? Okay, so what is the reason? See, one reason is China, big issue with China. So China earlier curtailed the availability of coal, and now suddenly, just yesterday, the news has come that China has again increased the supply of coal, because now it sees that all its industries are getting shut, all the urban centers are getting shut. So let us increase the demand of availability of coal suddenly. So China has again increased, but till the time this crisis was there for around a month, China had a huge amount of demand. Now it also demands from Indonesia, Australia, but China has got some issues with Australia, right? There are multiple issues with Australia. One good example is Australia alleging China that there are COVID issues and we must investigate what was the origin. China retorts by saying that why don't you take care of your Great Barrier Reefs? No tourism to be done at those places. So effectively, China has stopped importing coal from Australia, high grade anthracite coal from Australia, and China has increased its import from Indonesia. India imports from Australia and Indonesia both. So prices of coal have gone up. Very simple, right? So China and Australia were leaving AUKUS separate. Getting back to coal. So China is one. Export prices have also gone up, right? Why? Because the fuel prices have gone up internationally. So the exporter prices have risen not only for coal, but also for gases, also for petroleum. Now, you can see the rise in petroleum prices, right? It has touched sky high. In Mumbai, it has gone 110 rupees plus for 1 liter of petrol. And India is dependent on gas as much as 50%. 50% of the gas that we import is from outside. And then around 80% of coal, 80% of petroleum is what we import, right? 80% plus. And we also import a huge amount of coal. See, the amount of coal that we use from our own mines, those are largely used for energy generation. But we need high grade coal for being for using them for iron ore, iron plants, right? So we have to import them. There is no other substitute. We need high grade anthracite coal. What we have in India is a little of bituminous and then lignite, which are lower grade coal, right? So since the prices have gone up, therefore the availability has decreased, right? Flood and poor planning, another point, right? India is flooded. The world around, there are places which are flooded because of high rains. And because of floods, the coal pits, coal mines also have gotten flooded, and we have not planned for future. So this is another issue. Domestic demand has also increased suddenly. Why? Because of festive season, because of increased rigor in the whole economic scenario. There was a contemplation that there will be third wave of corona, right, in Indian community as well, Indian economic community as well. And that is how the prices, the future prices of all the entities, even coal, is fixed, future prices. So it was anticipated that in the month of September, October, there will be less demand of coal. So Coal India was already saying that there will be crisis of coal in case you do not purchase coal. We are talking of the electricity generating companies, but they did not purchase coal because they anticipated there will be less demand from industrial activity. So the domestic demand did rise. There was no third wave, in fact less third wave, and then you can see that there is a increase in demand and there is less availability. This is it. This warning was already issued by Coal India. Coal India has got a capacity to reserve its limits, right? Beyond that, it is also dangerous for Coal India to keep the coal. Therefore, the coal ideally should have gone to those companies, but private companies and other companies did not demand it. That is the issue. So renewable rollout slow down. See, renewable energy again slowly and steadily moving ahead. This is the issue. But let's talk about Coal India right now, right? So we have spoken a lot about what is the crisis. But what about Coal India? See, Coal India is already debt-ridden a lot. It is a government company and it does not work with profit motive, right? This is one important point. And it also has a monopoly in mining. So as much as around 80 to 85% of mining of coal is done by Coal India only. And then there are other private companies which are engaged in mining only for captive purposes, right? So since it is not profit oriented, it is also debt ridden. Somehow government also indirectly regulates the prices of coal. It says even if the coal has been brought at higher prices, imported at higher prices, or in case you are taking the coal from the Indian manufacturing company only at higher prices, you will not sell it at higher prices to electricity companies. Why? Because if electricity generation companies are purchasing coal at higher prices, they will sell at higher prices. And who will be the ultimate person who has to bear the cost? It is the consumers. And government does not want the consumers to bear the cost of electricity, higher cost. That is why the government indirectly tries to regulate the prices of coal. See, very important point, right? Populist measure, but who has to suffer? Coal India has to suffer. So it is debt ridden because of all these things, right? Also operational issues. operational issues. Transportation of coal through dedicated freight corridors, it has to happen, but we do not have those kind of corridors, high speed corridors, right? So this is one issue. We are also trying to substitute an important component of the coal, but then again, there's increased pressure on that. So these are the issues. So this is why Coal India has been blamed, but is it the only one who should have been blamed? Not really, because the private companies and the government companies which had to purchase coal from Coal India, they did not purchase it, right? So this is one prime issue. Coal India cannot bear the additional burden because it is already with cash crunch. Why? Because it is already bearing the load of purchasing the coal, or maybe creating the coal, generating the coal at higher cost, and again delivering it at a lower cost. This is one, right? Not only that, we should also look at the growth of Coal India. Coal India is diversifying into different kind of technologies. Now lately it has diversified into fertilizer business as well. Instead of putting in the money back in coal business, it has diversified itself. It has to grow. Why it has to grow is because coal also will eventually end, and that is why it is diversifying its business. One good example is ITC, Indian Tobacco Company. ITC was primarily into the business of selling cigarettes, right? But later it had to diversify because this is not a sustainable business for long, right? The government all around are trying to curb the sale of tobacco products. So it has diversified its business into hotel business, into other things as well, right? So similarly for Coal India, the investment around the world in coal sector has reduced substantially because the companies do not see this as a productive sector for future. 50 years down the line, a company like Coal India might not serve the purpose well as compared to the other modes of energy production, and therefore Coal India is stagnating in terms of its growth, right? So what can be done? So now Coal India can actually expand itself, right? It can help itself by having the private players also participate. This is one. It can also start to mine more, right? Now Coal India, if you see the graph, Coal India has been mining only at a very dismal pace. There's not been a particular growth in the mining of coal. Though we have reserves of coal, we do not mine with an accelerated speed as compared to what is the requirement. So we can mine at a faster pace. This is one. Mining rebound. Supply controls. Cannot we control the supply at the required place first and keep the reserves less at some other places where it is not required? These are the things required, right? Not only that, see, coal crisis is partly because of increased amount of rain. Now, can rain also create energy? Yes. When the dams are full, we can create hydroelectric energy from this, right? So this is another one. We can also turn to other modes of production like gas, coal gasification itself, and gas modes. But then there are other issues also associated with them. And that is why right now we will stick to what is the coal crisis and what were the main issues lying in it, international and domestic. Domestic also segregated in private and government and entities. This is how you will segregate your answer. Try to develop a structure, and then how government has tried and Coal India has tried to streamline this kind of crisis, right? Now, right now, I would like you to like this video because you have been the watchers of this, and in case you like our effort, just put a thumbs up here. And meanwhile, I would like you to take a moment to understand various perspectives of this article, beautifully written, right? And after that, you can attempt this question. How do you attempt this? Attempt this in your mind, attempt this physically, howsoever you want. You can also drop down a comment as you attempt this on this video itself. But important is to exercise the brain. Just take 1 minute to think about the various perspectives, and after that, answer this question. The question says, discuss the reasons for current coal crisis in India. Current coal crisis, what could be done to avoid this crisis in future? So see, this question has got two perspectives. One is the current coal crisis, you discuss the reasons for this and what could be done to avoid this crisis in future. So first part, pay good amount of attention to this, and second part are some of the ways in which this could be averted, right? So a question which can flow from one part to the other. This is how the question has been designed. You got to attempt this, think about this and attempt it in your mind. After that, do write down just the key points on the comment. That will suffice. Okay, so thank you for watching. I would like you to share your remarks about this in case there are some input, some feedbacks, something to improve, some articles that you don't understand. Do write them down so that we work on them. Meanwhile, today is Thursday. We will see you again tomorrow evening at 5:30 p.m. for the Gazette discussion and 6:30 p.m. for the featured news discussion. Thanks for watching.